Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. My name is Moss O'Callaghan, and I'm going to be speaking to you today about how resources should be better distributed to promote equality between men and women. To begin, we should look at the resources that are available to most third world countries. A sad but apparent irony exists. The countries which have bountiful natural resources are often the poorest. Take Guinea, for example. They are responsible for 95% of Africa's bauxite exports, a chemical needed to make aluminium. Bauxite is very rare and very expensive, yet over half the people of Guinea, 55.2% to be exact, are living in poverty. The country ranks 178 of the 187 countries classified by the United Nations Human Development Index in 2011, even though they are one of the main producers of bauxite. This is just one of the many examples of where the black hole, also known as first world countries, sucks the resources from the already poor third world countries. What little resources are left are subject to be used at the discretion of the governments. That's where the problem lies. Only 23.1% of members of parliament in sub-Saharan African countries are female, compared with 41.1% in Nordic countries. This 4-to-1 ratio of males to females will inevitably lead to favoritism shown towards males, which just isn't right. The lack of resources available for women produces startling results. In Guinea, only 14% of adult women are literate, compared with 46% of men. Let me reiterate that startling fact. Only 14% of adult women are literate, compared to 46% of men. This low level of education among rural women directly affects their ability to access information, agricultural extension services, and other production needs. Where ownership or usage of land is concerned, men habitually claim priority and hereditary rights. This outdated, unacceptable, and morally wrong sense of casual sexism present in these man-controlled countries has to stop immediately. It is only a vicious circle and will decay the third world countries' hopes and dreams of economic development from the core to the surface. If this is allowed to happen, they will forever remain as how we Westerners see them and treat them. Mere dirt on our shoes that just won't go away. The reasons why women should be given equal resources to men are undeniable. From educating everyone leading to foreign investment and to funding female entrepreneurs with potential job-creating ideas, it is self-destructive not to allocate resources equally. Ireland as a country has attracted investment from multiple multinational companies in recent years. This is attributed to the tireless work of the IDA, which campaigns to bring foreign investment to our country. As a result, 5 of the top 10 companies on Forbes' list of the world's most innovative companies have Irish operations. This leads to thousands of jobs for the Irish workforce and boosts Ireland's economy substantially. The reasons for the investments of these multinational companies in Ireland include our proximity to the US even, and the EU markets, but more importantly, as a result of our highly educated workforce. From 2000 through 2010, the percentage of people with a college education or more in Ireland was 37%. It nearly doubled in those 10 years, rising at an annual average of 7.3%, faster than any other country. Secondary school graduation rates also rose in that time, from 74% to 94%. These figures meant we were the 10th best educated country in the world, and as a result, our GDP per capita was $40,478, the 7th highest in the world. All of this shows that the key to economic development is education. Education for everyone, education for men, education for women. Education is what can make a poor country rich. If the resources of a country are primarily spent on men and their education, it is automatically reducing the educated workforce by at least 50%, which is as good as economic suicide. No country can be prosperous when only half the workforce is literate, when only half the workforce can use their brains to solve problems, found companies, enhance their lives and the lives of all those around them. To be a prosperous country, women have to be treated equally. There's no other option. Some leaders suggest a woman's role is raising the family. But what sort of life can the children of an illiterate slave of the sexist system expect to have? A life of oppression, a life lacking of any dignity, a life we wouldn't inflict on our pets. Yet we feel it's suitable for the people of these poor countries. And if the child is a female, then they are doomed. It's likely they'll never make a decision for themselves or be given any chance at a decent life. They'll simply raise children like their foremothers. Folarunsho Alakija is the most powerful and wealthiest African woman in the world, with a net worth of $2.1 billion. She was born into a wealthy family as her father was a chief in the army. She moved to Wales when she was 7 to be educated. Because she received a proper education and was given a chance at a decent life, she is now worth billions and has inevitably contributed to the economy of her country, Nigeria. She is the product and living example of what my speech is calling out for. A fair, equal world for women, where they can blossom or wither, but crucially, it's their own choice as to which they do. I'm confident that the former will occur more often, and the countries we label as poor will finally be our equals. To me, it's simple. Sexism and racism is the fuel that keeps the poverty fire burning. Equal opportunities for women and education for all people is the extinguisher that right now the governments of these poor countries are keeping behind a protective glass. As long as we treat women as second-class citizens, it will keep the fire alive and ultimately burn the country to the ground. I feel passionately that resources should be better distributed to promote equality between men and women, and I feel you should too. We should all get behind ActionAid and support them in their endeavours to close the gap between men and women in terms of pay and education. Thank you for listening.